Hello, and welcome to Charts and Hearts. I'm Sarah, and she's Lindsay.
And together, we're working our way through an epic list of rom-coms in order to find and categorize tropes in the hopes of creating the nerdiest spreadsheet podcasts have ever seen.
Surprise! Yep. Happy leap year! We realized it was a leap year, and we should do the movie Leap Year, so bonus episode for you.
Chances on other rom-com podcasts also doing this exact same thing? High.
But, man, this was a good time.
Yeah, it was super fun. I'm glad that we realized with enough time to do it.
Indeed. Man, this movie is really great.
It is really great. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it more when I watched it the first time. But also, when I watched it the first time, I didn't have a podcast about rom-coms where I analyzed them critically. I was just swooning over Matthew Goode.
And Ireland. Thing that I've been doing for some time now.
When did this movie come out?
2010, which was not a leap year.
So weird.
I know. It's a strange thing. And I'm like thinking about what happens later, which was our Patreon. In January, and like that came out in November, and the entire thing was about it being based on a leap year, which like it was now today is a leap year, so it's not like it was like 3 months off, but I'm like, if it's only 3 months, just release it on leap year. Like, why are you doing this? It's so strange. And so I'm like, why doesn't anybody coordinate this properly?
We did.
Like, obviously 2010, that's a long time, like you had to wait till 2012, but still it seemed weird.
Very strange. It's like they made it when it was the 2008 leap year, and then
or something. I don't know. And then there was also like things in the trivia that they were like talking about that, and then they're like, and then because she said it's Sunday on the 28th, and that's not wouldn't be a thing, which is true because this leap year is a Thursday. It's like a whole, everything's wrong. It's just
it's just like a totally fictional leap year.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like how President Bartlett's elections are on the different years.
Right.
Than real life. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, so this is Amy Adams and Matthew Goode. Amy Adams is like a very high-powered Boston fancy real estate staging person who is dating a cardiologist. It's very important. Adam Scott. Oh man,
my winter love.
You don't want to hate, but
no,
he gets you there by the end.
Why didn't I put that down here? It's so obvious. I think it was too obvious.
I guess so. Yeah, he was really good. And so the whole concept is that he is like they're dating, and she wants to get engaged. Like they're trying to buy an apartment together, etc.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And like they're both super type A people, but they haven't had this conversation, especially before they decided to buy an apartment. That was super
it's
fancy.
Like you haven't even talked about marriage other than like theoretically. That seems they're both very plannery people. So anyways, he goes to Dublin for a work conference, and she finds out from her dad, who's John Lithgow.
I know, so random. Yeah, like in like 2 minutes of this movie.
I know, so strange. And he tells her about the tradition that her grandma used to get engaged, which was on a leap year in Ireland. The woman is allowed to propose to the man. Ugh.
Yeah, which I have so many questions about. I didn't look up if it was real because I don't care enough.
No.
And also like, okay, grandma. So whatever, it was like the
1900s,
1900s.
Early 1900s.
So I guess it's a little bit more like not a thing, but I'm like, really? It's 2010 and you need this excuse? Like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Women can propose to whoever they want to propose
whenever they want. Yeah.
At any time.
And like, if you want that to be a thing that you do as a tradition, like other people, especially Irish people, like I think they're probably Irish. It was kind of brushed aside. But again, like if you're a person living in Ireland and experience this tradition, and that's the way that you decide to propose to your fiance, then sure. Like that's kind of fun of like, oh yeah, it's the 29th. Like it's a fun thing regardless. It's the 29th.
Yeah, it's just like high stakes Sadie Hawkins dance.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole thing, the same thing with Sadie Hawkins, the whole thing of like, you're allowed to propose to him? I'm like, no.
Yeah, you're allowed to do whatever you want. He doesn't have to say yes.
Exactly. You're allowed to propose to him whenever you want.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. Anyway, surprise, surprise, we have a problem with this because it's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, but yeah, taking that as whatever, we'll try to move on.
Yes.
So in her like regular life in Boston, she's very like crafty, creative, like decoraty person. Lindsay wrote down very Hallmarky activities to like show how plannery and obsessive and like organized she is. And yeah, absolutely. Like she hands the real estate agent the tube of cookies so that he can, like half an hour before the showing, put these cookies in the oven, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like how she is very scheduled and very type A for sure. And yeah, it was just funny.
Yeah. And then the more Hallmarky like experiences like this, I think is before Hallmark became what it is.
Oh yeah. Sure. There was, a couple movies a year. Absolutely. But
yeah. But there's like the whole thing of like going into a small town. I mean, like, can I get a taxi? And
yeah, or like, where's the hotel?
Yeah, and all of that kind of thing, and just and like the absurdity stuff of like, being so obsessed with needing to plug in her phone that she doesn't notice that the room is falling down around her.
Yeah,
like that was odd,
very odd. Yeah, because she's trying to find a plug, and also not understanding power adapters.
Yeah, and not being concerned, like not even like noticing, of like just being so tunnel focused about plugging in her phone. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? It was very strange. And again, like you're so obsessive and type A, but you didn't buy yourself an adapter at the airport?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know.
So strange.
Anyway.
Yeah, so she's trying to go to Dublin, and then because of bad weather, the flight gets redirected and lands in Cardiff, which is in Wales. So then she's trying to figure out and like, pulls a total like Karen move on the people at the airport of like, get me, and there's no planes going. It's a weather issue. Like it's not about
it's
things
just,
being
like,
full.
Like don't you understand?
Yeah, and at that point she had like 3 days still.
Yeah, so it's not really. Yeah, it's very strange. And my favorite part about this part of like she like finds a boat and people to take her and all this stuff, and then the boat drops her off on the island, but on a beach.
Yeah.
She's just standing on a beach while a boat
gets
drives away.
And I was like, in Dingle.
Has anyone ever been on a boat before?
Yeah, like how did she get from the fishing boat to the beach?
To the beach.
Also, like they have docks in fishing towns.
Like this is again like the so Hallmarkiness of just skipping over things of just like you just need like one extra level of not even research of just like stopping for 10 minutes and using your brain.
Basically they wanted the visual of
her heels
of her
in
getting
the sand.
there.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just looking up where Dingle is, and it's around the outside of Ireland. Like it's on the west coast of Ireland.
So how did she even get?
Well, like, why did they redirect? Because she was trying to take a boat to Cork. So Cork is like a straight shot from the, like, Wales across. And then Dingle is all the way around the tip of Ireland.
So, doesn't make sense at all. I think they just liked the name Dingle. And also maybe, I don't know if they actually filmed there. Like, the cliffs are obviously a big part of this movie. And so, if that could be a thing. But still, it's just convenient. And funny for Americans to say the word Dingle. Yeah.
And then Tipperary at least is like on the way from Dingle to Dublin. So
and like apparently really close, and that's a whole other thing.
It's like halfway between Dingle and Dublin.
Yeah, but the train guy's wife is going to Dublin.
Oh yeah, it's going to Dublin for groceries. Yeah, so and like I don't know. There's not that many big cities in Ireland. No. So, I don't know.
Anyway.
But I think they picked Tipperary because of the castle. Yeah. And that whole story of like Grania and all that, which is a real Irish myth, legend. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. And then there's all kinds of shenanigans about them, trying to get to Dublin. They finally get to Dublin through many adventures. Oh, but they end up, at the B&B in Tipperary that they find out is very conservative, and so they have to pretend to be married. And it's so cute. And they have to share a tiny bed.
And yeah, and like the whole thing about the shower being not, I'm like, floors exist, but whatever.
Right? Well, there wasn't really any floor space in that room.
No,
though.
Not really, but yeah, it's just, yeah. And then the whole thing the next day is that he like, they're close enough that the wife of where they're staying is in Dublin at them when they find out to get groceries. So like, they're not actually really far away.
No.
And so then they walk and then they run because there's hail and end up at a church. And then the priest is like, I'll drive you after the wedding. So she's like, I'll just stay there. And then they stay all night.
Yeah.
For no reason. It's never explained why they're there all until the morning.
Because she gets very drunk and distracted.
Yeah, but like not until late at night.
No, I know. It's so
fine for the whole day. And then in the morning, after they've slept outside on a bench,
yes,
then there's a bus. Like the whole thing was that it's Sunday, so there's no buses. But apparently the priest can drive you on Sundays, which seems weird.
Yeah,
but like there's so many.
Oh yeah, no, there's lots of logistical
just
challenges.
Come up with a different reason why you have to stay another night. Like, again, one extra hour of thinking. And this movie could have made more sense.
Much more sense. And then she ends up in Ireland, and Adam Scott ends up proposing to her, and Matthew Goode gets his clotter ring back from his ex, and we find out about the whole story with his ex, blah, 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 and why he is nervous about women and commitment and blah, blah, blah. And then
so they go home.
Yeah, and so then they both go home. She goes back to Boston. He goes back to Dingle, and then they're having like an engagement party / housewarming because they got the house that they were trying to get, and it's in a co-op. And at the engagement party, she finds out that the reason he proposed was because he wanted to get the co-op building to approve their application, not because he wanted to get engaged. Yeah. And then there's a very dramatic scene where she pulls the fire alarm, because that's been this whole conversation about like, what would you save if you had 60 seconds when the fire alarm goes off? And she realizes that Adam Scott is saving like valuables and his computer and his work cell phone and blah blah blah, and she doesn't want anything to do with it. And
I have issues with this, and I'm not a cardiologist, so I don't have that job security. But if someone's like, oh, you'd grab your computer, I'm like, that's literally my entire life.
Oh yeah, I would too, because all my photos are there. Yeah,
all my photos are there, and also like I need to work. Like if I don't have a computer, I don't have access to any of my job. Yeah, no, like I work anymore.
I would grab my computer and but he doesn't think about anything sentimental.
No, he doesn't at all, and like that's the point. But the kind of the way that Matthew Goode was phrasing it was like, you just are concerned about your job and stuff, and I'm like, and I get it, and that's fine, and that's the point. But also like, yes, capitalism exists and is bad, but also we need to survive in capitalism after this fire happens. Yeah, supposedly. So like, calm your tits a bit, dude.
Yeah, like, it's entirely possible I wouldn't bother grabbing a charger for my computer because I could borrow one or buy a new one.
Exactly.
Or
like,
whatever,
if that was a thing that was going to slow you down. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on. That's a side note about my perspective on this.
And query. What I would grab in 60 seconds in a fire. And then, so she shows up at his pub in Dingle and makes a whole, I don't know, they have lots of like little inside jokes that they came up with on their adventure, and it's all callbacky to that. And then she like basically confesses her feelings, and he just stares at her and then walks away, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill you.
I'm like, well, I knew what was gonna happen.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously, like it's not a surprise, but like it's still so dumb and like unnecessary.
Like, say a word.
And then so she goes out to the cliffs on Dingle, and it looks absolutely gorgeous, and I want to go to Ireland. I mean, I always want to go to Ireland, but and then he comes and finds her and gives her the clattering, and they get married. Yeah, it's very cute. It's very cute.
It's very cute.
Very tropey.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Very tropey. And it's very, like, there's some, like, harmless stereotypes of Irish people. Like, The old Irish men being all into like superstition and good luck and stuff. But then there was like a throwaway line from the bride at the wedding that, because Amy Adams' like shoe comes flying off when she's dancing and hits the bride in the face. And she's like, well, at least it wasn't my husband. I'm like, oh, so like the trope of, drunken Irish people being their wives. Yeah. So great. Not all great stereotypes, but you know. Yeah. Any other observations?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just,
yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll come up with more thoughts in
probably,
the tropes because we have like a page
long
list.
Oh my god, there's so many.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start at somewhere.
The top. So we've got Adam Scott, everybody's dream, but not in this.
No.
Because he's the lamest of lame boyfriends. Like, he's not dull boyfriend like Bill Pullman, but he's lame. He's like so obsessed with his work. Oh no. And like, and all of this stuff, and just like, and then turns a little bit like during the fire stuff, he's a little bit more like comedical douchebag levels of like, we have to get the camcorder because we haven't put the proposal on Facebook yet. And I'm like, you don't need that line. You don't, like, you've already made your point that he's not the one for her. Like, you don't need to make him a dude bro and like out of nowhere. Yeah, whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah.
And we talked about this a lot, but she's so like stuck up in type A, and we really need somebody rough and rugged to come along and loosen her up. And we
break
get
the rules,
and it's great.
And Matthew Goode, well, first of all, is the bartender of the pub, because of course this is a Hallmark movie, basically, and
also the innkeeper and the taxi driver.
And he doesn't trust women because of his past that he won't open up to until he does. Yep.
There's a plethora of old bickering men, and they're pretty funny.
Yeah, I enjoy them. And they're also sweet to him when he needs to rebuild his pub.
So that's I guess part of it is like through this whole thing, the main reason he volunteers to drive her to Dublin is because he needs a bunch of money to pay the contractor that like rebuilt the kitchen in the pub, and so she's offering to pay him like 500 euros. And so then at the end there's like a big fundraiser. And all the like locals and all the old guys are so generous and like won't let him, because the guy's gonna like rip the kitchen out. Yeah. So they're really cute.
Enemies to lovers. Skip that one. Very obvious.
Oh yeah.
And
very
then
obvious.
This one, like, so he rescues her twice. Later at the wedding, he rescues her like she's drunk, and he like scoops her up and takes care of her. But at the beginning, when they're still on their road trip shenanigans, her suitcase gets stolen. Because she trusts weird men, which also seems weird for her. Yeah. And then she finds them with her suitcase at a pub, and they're in like this back room, and they like, in a dark way, but like you don't get to go that far unless you think about it. It like seems like they're going to attack her.
Yeah. But it's like they're in like the billiards room, like the side room of the pub.
It's very strange. And like then, so that's the whole thing of like, she's in there. She's like staring at them and is more focused on yelling at them instead of just grabbing her suitcase and leaving. Not to be victim blaming. It just seems weird in general. And then they're going to attack her, and then he comes in and punches them all out and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just like, and then the bartender comes in and throws them out. I'm like, that was a full pub. The door was open. So what were they thinking? It was a very strange setup.
It was contrived for sure.
Yeah, him to come rescue her. And I was just like, ugh. Yeah, anyway.
So much sliding through mud.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So much sliding through mud. Because it's Ireland and it rains unexpectedly and there's mud everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And then, we talked about this. One bed and pretending to be married. Classic tropes.
Classic. Yeah, there's only one bed. We have to share it. And we have to pretend to be married. There's a really great montage of them like picking food from the garden and making dinner and sort of like getting to know each other, falling for each other, but like, still like being sassy with each other because that's kind of their vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's another one later where he's renovating the pub and he's like, I'm so much better than I was. I'm not rough anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, one I forgot. Pretending to be married was the forced kissing.
Yep.
Classic.
A real good kiss.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Random dancing, and because it's Ireland, it's Irish, like, folk dancing, obviously.
Yeah, and then they get to Dublin, and he doesn't take the money.
Because he loves her. Yeah. We get a big declaration of love in public. She, like, stands up in front of the packed pub and confesses her feelings and love and blah, 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 and then he just walks away.
Yeah. But when she's doing that, she does the not proposal, which is the basically, like, line for line from 4 Weddings. Yeah.
Yeah, like I propose we make no plans together, basically. Because, she's trying to, like, be more like him, of more, like, open and flexible and go with the flow, whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And then falling in love quickly, which I think, like, it's 3 days. Like, they don't aren't together at the end of that, but then they don't see each other for months.
Yeah, like, they're fully moved into her condo.
Yeah, and he's fully renovated his pub and has, like, a bunch of other cooks and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
so it's a couple months at least. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then she comes back and proposes to him, and then they are engaged.
Yeah, well, yeah, so she, like, doesn't propose, and then he properly proposes.
Yeah, because that's how he decides to do things without talking to her.
And then the usual, like, conflict due to bad or no communication. Like, yeah, when he gets off to get the ring, or, like, her and Adam Scott not talking about marriage, and then being mad that they're not engaged, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah. So many things could be fixed with talking.
Lindsay, does this movie pass the Bechdel test?
No,
not even close.
It is. It's a small cast. Again, it's one of those ones where there's it's just the 2 of them for most of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got a friend.
Yeah, she has
the beginning.
Yeah.
Who talks about her getting engaged, and I guess she talks about the apartment, kind of, but in the vein of, like, you're so lucky because you're engaged and you have an apartment.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Yeah, it doesn't count for sure. Because, it's like her apartment with her fiance, not her own apartment. Yeah. Okay, let's make a pie.
Okay. You know what we haven't talked about enough?
What?
How attractive Matthew Goode is.
Oh my god. So I did a rewatch of Downton, I don't know, sometime in the fall. And where you get, like, very clean-cut Matthew Goode for some of it. And then in this one, you get very scruffy Matthew Goode. And I'm like, both A+.
Yeah. Remember when he was on The Good Wife for a while?
Oh, yeah. Anyways, yeah, he's great in this. He's really funny. He, like, doesn't take any shit. He gives a lot of shit.
Yeah. And, like, he's not, like, he's, like, rough, blah, blah, blah. But he's not, like, a terrible. Like, he doesn't. It could have easily gone into the bad realms.
No, he's rough in terms of, like, not being very polite, but not, like, misogynistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just, he's, like, not putting up with her fancy stuff. I don't know, 20?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think because we've got a lot. Louis, her suitcase.
Which, if you haven't watched this movie recently or not at all, you have no idea what we're talking about. But Louis is her fancy suitcase.
That is, like, Vuitton suitcase.
The third main character in this movie.
Yeah, it's really, like, this is the thing of, like, he makes fun of her by calling her suitcase Louis, and then, of course, by the end, they both are, and it's really funny.
It's so cute. Like, where's Louis? He's tied to the roof. Like 10%?
Yeah. A super random thing I noticed is, like, Amy Adams, who's gorgeous in this movie, of course, but has, like, the most perfectest hair and, like, these crazy outfits. Every time we go to her, regardless, except for when she's sliding in the mud. But her hair is always, like, it looks like it's been blown out. Yeah. Even though she's standing, like, in a wind machine. Like, it's not blown out from a wind machine. It's blown out from a hairdryer. It's very, like...
Oh, yeah.
It's very
And
perfect.
it, like... And it recovers very perfectly.
Yeah.
So, like, she'll be soaking wet and muddy, and then in the next scene...
Yeah, she's...
Perfect.
Like,
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
I don't know, 30%? It was, like, a big part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got Irish stereotypes. Oh, so many.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
30%?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, there's, like, you know, at an Irish wedding, people only dance to traditional Irish music.
Mm-hmm.
Do
that traditional poem in their speech.
Yeah, the traditional poem in their speech, the like Irish folktale that you've heard a million times about Grania and Diarmid and all that. And yeah, the like old men debating about what's good luck and bad luck.
Yeah.
And
all
of the
like,
things.
and then like another random man also saying that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Yeah.
I think that leaves us with 10% muddy shoes.
Yeah. Ugh.
Her shoes must be so disgusting.
Yeah, and she does so much walking in crazy ass heels.
Yeah, they're like strappy heeled, sort of Mary Jane-ish kind of shoes. And yeah, they're like covered in mud multiple times, and she walks probably tens of kilometers in them.
Yeah.
Over the course of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Lindsay, what's next for them?
I don't know. I have mediocre feelings about it. Like, they obviously still felt things because they were apart for a long time.
Yeah.
I have the normal questions of, is she going to be able to live in Ireland?
Yeah.
She
like it's
have
going
a visa.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure out immigrating to Ireland.
Is they're going to sound alarms by the fact that she was there for 3 days and then left for 6 months and came back and got engaged immediately the day that she arrived? Because that sounds super sketchy if you're an immigrations officer.
Very immigration wedding, not real wedding.
Yeah. So, like, there's that stuff, but...
And, like, yeah, her job is, you know, like, obviously would have lots of transferable skills in terms of, like, decorating and planning, but, like, he owns a small town pub.
Yeah, when I'm feeling good about them, I remember that she mentions that she had to hold a bunch of jobs as a teen because her dad was so irresponsible.
Right,
so, like,
that's
she's
true.
Probably worked in a pub before, and, like, her entire thing was loosening up, so... You know, if she's made this decision and hopefully thought about it, she's realized that she can't have her job.
Yeah.
And have him at the same time.
That's true. Like, yeah, it's not like he proposed impulsively when they were first together. Like,
exactly.
She broke up with her fiance and, like, made a considered choice, presumably to go back to Dingle rather than...
Yeah, like, I would expect that she's, like, prepared to live there for some time when she got on the plane. I would hope.
You would hope.
That would make sense. So
yeah, based on her personality, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that she's, like, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but until I figure it out, I will work in the pub with you, maybe, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Seems possible.
Yeah, so I have medium feelings for them.
Yeah. I do feel like they work well together in that, and like we see that, and that's always like a nice thing to see. Yeah, that they do, even when they're not getting along, they work well together. Like they solve lots of problems. I mean, they got into lots of shenanigans, but weather related mostly. And Lindsay, what's next for us?
Music and lyrics.
Yay!
Hooray! That's coming up soon.
Yeah,
on Monday. We gotta get going here.
Yeah.
But yes, we'll be back to our normal schedule. No more surprises until we think of another reason to have a surprise.
Yes. So excited for music and lyrics. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're gonna have a fun month coming up.
Yes. That brings us to the end of our episode. You can always leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find us on social media. We're at Charts and Hearts Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and at Charts and Hearts on Twitter.
You can also head to our website, chartsandhearts.com, where you can submit suggestions for other rom-coms or tropes for us to add to the list. And you're listening to us on our Patreon. Thank you for visiting. Please consider joining us. For $2 a month, you get another episode a month. We do super fun things. This month we did Jerry Maguire, which was less fun. But next month we're doing That Thing You Do, which is super fun. And we'll be very excited. Just so...
Indeed.
And there's tons of them. There's like probably 20 or so now.
Yeah, at least.
So covering lots of things that are romantic movies and also speed and all sorts of great stuff.
All kinds of shenanigans.
Yeah.
And we would love to know your thoughts on this movie. You can leave it as a comment in Patreon. You can message us on social media, all of the above. And in the meantime, just put them in the wash. They'll be grand.